podcast comes to you with thanks to our friends at Trafalgar Square Finance, leading independent specialists in mortgages and all types of property finance. Whether it's buy-to-let, development or bridging finance, Trafalgar Square can help you organise your funding for your next property project. Exclusively to listeners of Your Property Podcast, Trafalgar Square offer a free one-to-one consultation. So whether you are a portfolio landlord looking to raise funds on your existing portfolio, or if you're just starting out and want to find out if you are eligible for a buy-to-let mortgage, Trafalgar Square Finance can help. It's easy to book with one of their experienced consultants by simply visiting yourpropertynetwork.co.uk/finance. You can find this link in the show notes for more details. Hello and welcome to Your Property Podcast. My name is Michelle Cairns and today is the 1st of March 2022 and with us we have Guillaume Black. Hi Guillaume.
Hi Michelle, thank you very much for having me.
I should say bonjour.
Yes, bonjour.
So a bit of background about Guillaume. Obviously, he's French and he is the co-founder and CEO of Property Filter and the director of Black's Property Solutions. He has been able to leave his 10-year career in the construction and engineering sector thanks to property. So with his engineering background, Guillaume could not help but deconstruct and blueprint what makes success in property in a number of simple frameworks. So that is a quick overview about your background, Guillaume. But Guillaume, we met actually last month at one of my networking meetings, and you presented, your research and your business model about how you help people to get started in property. And I think, what appealed to me about your talk was that you deal with people, you help people at the very beginning of their journey who are overwhelmed and they are stuck in what strategy and what type of deal and how they take that next or the first step. So but for people who don't know about you, let's tell us a bit about your background and the construction engineering and how that's fed into the property world.
Right. Okay. So 11 years ago now, I graduated from a university in France with a master's degree in engineering. And I realized my childhood dream at the time. I went on to work on those big infrastructure projects, Discovery Channel kind of places. And I really liked it at the beginning, but it was very, very demanding. I had no, work-life balance. I loved the traveling, but the hours were just crazy. 15-hour days, 15 days in a row, very little time off, in between there. And I was just going through the motions, and don't get me wrong, I had really good career opportunities and I enjoyed most of it, but it's just, it was a life by default, not really driven. And as I moved to UK again for work 6 years ago, I got into property at the beginning a bit by accident because, Section 24. So if I just want to buy a flat, it just makes more sense for me to open it through a company. And then all of a sudden, I realized all the stuff I can put through the business. And it's like, I'm an accidental entrepreneur. And so it started a bit like this. And I think the penny really dropped for me when I realized the opportunity offered by the UK market in terms of property. And a lot of it comes from the finance system, which is quite unique and different to what we've got in Europe or in France. And when I realized about interest-only mortgages and the refinance systems and all these things that don't exist, and you can build a monthly profit basically and a monthly income, and quite sustainably you can substantially you can sort of replace a good chunk of your income quite quickly. I really got into it. I started in property in France with some anecdotal projects, like a barn conversion. I bought a barn in 2013, and I thought I was going to convert it into flats, but it was one of those projects where the cost of the works were lower than the value you get at the end. So I just sat on it for 4 years, and I sold it last year. But it's just how you learn with some mistakes like this. But really, things really accelerated for me in the UK in 2018. Bought my first buy-to-let. So that was to get the landlord experience to get access to better finance. And I focused all my energy into HMOs and HMOs developments in the Birmingham area. And I worked with Andy Ellard. So together we've built quite a few sort of one HMO per year since, basically. And we've got now 2 projects on the go, one 7-bed, which is halfway through, and one 9-bed. We are just applying for planning at the moment.
Right.
All of these, apart from the single let, which was a direct to vendor through networking referral, all the other properties we bought, all the HMO development projects we did, were based on looking for insights of motivations, and all of them were on the market at some point on the market. And we're looking for, if they fell through, they were reduced, if they were listed with multiple agents, and basically the slow movers, if they're available since a long time, they are sold subject to contract since a long time. And we sort of build this lead generation machine to go after these insights of motivation and solve the problems on the market properties. Because we dabbed into direct to vendor, we've tried lots of stuff. But really what seems to work for us is to automate this lead generation here. And the results we managed to get with this allowed me to quit my 10-year career at the end I had quite a senior role in the company, and I'm so much more happy for the life I have now, thanks to property and the methodology.
Wow. And good to give people an idea of the time frame. Let's say from when you kind of realize that you could invest in property and generate this cash flow to actually quitting the day job. What sort of time frame was that?
Yeah, that was 3 years.
Wow.
Yeah, 3 years. But let's say I got in my own way most of the time, and I guess it's one of the lessons learned, or the things I would do differently. For me, I spend more energy working on myself than on the business all this time, because you can imagine my corporate baggage, education baggage. France is probably the least entrepreneurial country you can think of. I've graduated from a good university in France, but none of my friends from uni or alumni or whatever, none of them are self-employed. Everybody's working for a big corporation and climbing up the ladder, etc. And it's just not in our culture. Everybody here in UK, everybody knows someone whose parent has got a corner shop somewhere, or is some sort of a business, or even just contracting on a self-employed basis. And it just took me quite a lot to go on the other side of fear, sort of deconstruct my baggage basically around this, to being this accidental entrepreneur, to this is it, this is who I am, this is what I want to do.
Can I just dig into that a little bit then? So can you describe, the moment where you realized what was possible with property investing that in the UK that is not possible in France? Because I say that I've got a friend, and I was explaining, what I do, and explaining about interest-only mortgages, and he couldn't believe that you could get an interest-only mortgage. It's just not possible in European countries like France and Spain. So it makes that property investing much more appealing. If you can get more cash flow from it, you're not just paying the repayments off the capital every month. So I think a lot of people either don't realize the potential in property investing, or if they do, they don't realize how lucky they are to live in the UK, where it is possible to make a really good living from property investment.
Yeah, so the penny really dropped for me when I understood these, and interest only mortgage. It's the things I talked about just earlier. Interest only mortgage and refinancing. Right. So in France, the interest, you cannot access interest only mortgage. You can in some instance, but basically you need the cash on the side as a security, which means it doesn't really make sense. Right. so they don't ask me about the logic of a French system. And so so this was quite quite something, and the refinancing. So in France, you can refinance in a way. Another lender can buy your debt, but you cannot raise more equity, more debt against the value of an asset.
Right.
If you think the old culture around debt is very different, and the understanding of good debt in France, all debt are bad. When I explain to my family the sum of all the mortgages I have, this is crazy. They can't, they wouldn't be able to sleep. But I explain how it works, and and it's quite here in France, for example, if your kids are going to university and you need to finance this, you'll take like a consumer loan, like just unsecured loan with your bank, the same sort of stuff. You could buy cars or do whatever you want with it. Here, people will refinance their home because it's the debt is cheaper.
Yes.
So the old system and culture is very different.
Right.
And the fact that you can add value through works, and my background in engineering, contracts management, works management, add value through works, and then recycle some of your money. For me, this is crazy. This was really where it all started and where I got really into it. And then the next thing was, if you want to set up a company in France, you need to pay an accountant for like 3,000 euros or something like that, and it takes months. Here you go on the company house and it costs you 15 quid or 14 quid. And I think the last company I opened, I did it on the back of the second speaker on the pin meeting because I already saw on Zoom. And it's really quick and easy. You can really create value, create businesses so much more easier here than on the other side of the pond. Yeah.
Well, even so, here it's easy if you know how, right? So it just kind of accessing that whole world and taking advantage of it. So let's dig into a bit about the lead generation then. So you've got the engineering background, all about processes and systems, and you're applying that to your property investing. So how did you go about having creating that system, and how can that kind of help other people?
So at the beginning, I think we when we set out to look for properties, we realized that we wasted a lot of time on scrolling through the online portals, on copying these on a spreadsheet somewhere with links, and by the time you finish to do things everything gets out of date. And that was the first place where we were losing a lot of time.
Right.
And the second aspect where we were going on viewing on too many things. We were trying to view any property that fits two basic criteria, and we ended up at some viewings, and it's even so more true now that the market is a lot more hot than 3-4 years ago. You are going to waste your time if you are sort of in this bidding war with first-time buyers where everybody's looking for the same house as you. So we were wasting a lot of time on the viewings, basically going places where people were not motivated, and then you are trying to sell them a creative solution where really the best thing for them is to someone else can buy them property basically for what they're asking for or even more. So we started to be a lot more selective in what we were looking at viewing. And initially we were just the only viewings worth our time were things fallen out of bed, reduced, listed with multiple agents, and we just focused on this. Right. And then the conversations we were having, the quality of the leads we were getting, just went through the roof. And the first project we bought, I think the asking price was £250,000. It fell through twice. It was listed with multiple agents. At the end, we didn't even deal with an agent because we've been on the property and we spoke with the owner. It was a bit of a difficult person to deal with, but again, it's difficult for everybody. So the good deals are not by doing the easy stuff, So yes. And at the end, it took a lot of following up, and we got it, I think, for 173,000. Wow. And it's now where it was valued 2 years ago, 18 months ago, 420, after we've done some works to it.
Okay, so people listening to this, and if they're not into if they've not done these deals themselves, they're going to be asking, why would an owner sell, their property at such a discount to you?
So because it was in a bit of a state.
Right.
It had poor interest because the owner was very stubborn on the price they wanted. So it just upset everybody around, upset us, but we it was quite difficult, but we stuck with it, we followed up. And then even until the last day, until we completed, it was difficult. It was the guy was sort of bullying us, we completed in 5 weeks, which is not bad, anyway, but it's just one of these guys, and which, basically this guy is going to be difficult with everybody. he put off two people that sort of pulled off the sale before, and we could see the value we could create there for the location and etc. And we knew what sort of works we needed to do. So I think it was just following up, sticking with our guns, and not being so attached to the deal. So when you have a good lead generation system and you can fill your pipeline and you can see that you've got lots of opportunity going on in the same time, you become less attached and emotionally attached to one deal, and then sort of making mistakes of paying too much for it because this is the only thing you've got in your pipeline, because this is the only thing you're looking at. So when you have we have a strong lead generation system that brings you leads on a daily basis, and then you've got a strong framework to work through these and know at which stage everything is. You are a bit more detached. You see the numbers, you see how many you've got around, and at the end you just use the system to sieve through all these leads into deals. And there's only going to be a few at the end, but they are the ones worth doing.
Yeah, you've got an abundance mindset, and you're not a motivated buyer, that's for sure.
Yeah.
If you've got so many to choose from. And you just mentioned there about the owner was a bit stubborn on the price. So presumably what he was asking for, his asking price, it wasn't worth that because it needed so much work doing it. Was that the case? Or
yeah, it was worth a lot less. It was probably worth more than what we paid for. But I think we just stuck to our guns, and fair play to Andy. He dealt with a lot of the the hardship with the negotiation. The guy was quite difficult. It's like he was playing hard to get. It was that's fine. I've got another cash offer better than yours. So that's great.
Go for
great
it.
for you. Great for you. By all means, this is this seems great. And then if you keep regular contacts, you see that people are driven by some sort of pride and ego sometimes, and we need to sort of brush the ego in the right side, and not comment on what we might think, or not judge, and help people move on basically. And I think he was happy at the end that he was done. We were happy because we got a good deal.
Yeah. And as you say, a lot of it is about in the follow-up, where everyone else kind of gets bored or moves on by something else, and then this person kind of is left there, still with their house to sell, and you following up on that. So what's your process for following up? Do you leave it 2 weeks, a month? How do you just carry on until it's sold?
It really depends. So every lead in our pipeline will be unique. Right. So we use the same system. We use a property filter for our lead generation, and we offer this to anybody who reach out to me basically. And the process is the same. So every lead is different in our pipeline at different stage. Most people will put a lot of effort in the lead generation themselves. So they'll do expensive direct to vendor campaigns, or they'll pay VAs, or they'll spend a lot of time to scroll through the internet, then copy right-move links on spreadsheets, and you have all this heavy weight done at the beginning that only gives you the right to go to a viewing. Then they spend the miles, they spend the time on the viewing, they build rapport. Then the next stage is we'll go on and make an offer. So we try to put ourselves as professional as possible. We prepare good documents with all our proof of funds, etc. So there's a lot of effort going through all of this. And then most people would just put an offer, and then this is where it ends, because there is no system really to track follow up efficiently. So the way our pipeline is designed is that because every lead is different, and every lead will be more or less warm depending on the discussion you've had. Right. Say, we are pretty close to agreeing something, so let's follow up with them in 1 week, or today is Tuesday, let's follow up with them on Friday. Or if it's and the other extreme is like, it's sold subject to contract. So we've worked on this and it's now sold subject to contract. I would just tick the box. Okay, we follow up in 4 weeks. So depending, if it's sold subject to contract yesterday, basically they are not in a place where you can really position yourself, or when it falls through, call me. But it's just say, okay, we'll follow up in 4 weeks or in 5 weeks, and then as the sold subject to contract stuff reach 90 days, or depending on the postcodes, would be 60 days, some could be 100 days. So people can set their criteria, and then we'll be a lot more present basically in the follow-up. And a bit of a tip here, something that seems to work quite well. So it's not something I've been doing because I've got enough projects on the go, but some of our property filter members are doing. They look at anything that's on the sold subject to contract since a long time, and they know that there's a good proportion of this that will come back on the market. So what they do is they get in touch directly with the vendor. So because the software pulls out the address, they just get the address of the properties. And something I've seen, which I found was quite brilliant, is they don't write a letter saying, "Oh, I've seen your house is sold. If it falls through, call me." They send a letter, which is a bit of a gift. So congratulations for your move. These are a list of services, that you might need, and for your move, etc. Some moving companies, some cleaning companies, some gardeners, some local businesses, basically, that you generally help with something. And then if something happens with the sale, we happen to be buying houses here. You can save on fees and this and that. Work directly with us, and we'll be looking at giving you the accessing the equity of your property, and this seems to work quite well.
Yeah, so they're more likely to keep that letter because it's got some value to it.
Yeah, so it's making it in a way that it stays on the kitchen table, or it doesn't reach the bin, and then you never know. Like a couple of weeks later, something might happen, and usually when something happens, the vendors will be pissed off with the agent because the agent has sold them the idea that this was a great offer, this was a great vendor, they need to accept it because we need to complete to get our commission. And then there's always a bit of a disappointment when the agent is telling them that something went wrong with the sale, and so it's a good time to occupy some headspace at that time.
And so when you talk about the leads that are automatically generated, how do they come to you then? So you're talking about not using virtual assistants to scrape the data and not doing it manually, but how are the leads generated?
Yeah, so basically, what we find and we measured is that the best return on investment in terms of our time and money invested in lead generation, in marketing to get lead, is on first of all dominating everything that's on the market. The first, it's a false. It's not really a good exercise to go in a new area and start leafleting streets. Or doing just ad hoc landlord letters here and there. The first thing you want to do is to dominate everything that's on the market. See everything that's been reduced, see everything that's back on the market, see everything that's listed with multiple agents, and also see the volume of stock. Is it increasing? Is it really understanding how your area is working? And this will be done by so you can do this manually. Of course, you can scrape through all the portals and do it yourself. But for us, it's done very efficiently with our software.
Right. Okay.
And then the idea is that from there, looking at all the insights of motivation, focusing on them first, and then focusing on the stuff that doesn't sell. So you don't want to compete with basically all the first-time buyers. And so when a property, especially in this market, when everything flies off the shelf, imagine if you're a vendor and you see everything is selling, but not your house, So motivation. This is where you solve problems as property professionals. So the way it works, and so that's the first step. And then after, by all means, we can invest in direct to vendor stuff when we really understand our area, but we have to understand the return on investment on our leads. In terms of money and time is less interesting than by looking at everything that's on the market. But the way this works for us is that we pull out from all the portals on the internet, basically, we pull out all the data in one place, and we match. There's all sorts of things we do. We match properties for sale and to rent. So we've got people who just specialize in pitching PLOs, because basically this is what people, this is what the listing says. They want to rent it, but they also want to sell. So that works quite well for some people. It's just pulling all of this data together. And I would add, so there's a lot of hype around the data. You know, this is the 21st century, and we need to take data-driven decisions. And one of the regrets I have, not a regret, but one of the things I would do differently, because of my sort of analytical background, I thought I could do everything from my desk. You know, at the beginning, I probably spent 2 months. You know, that's going back 3-4 years ago. I probably spent 2 months trying to get all the data from my area and finding, you know, heat maps of yields, and the data will only give you average performance, basically. And you can choose to sit on your desk and just follow the data.
Mm-hmm.
The truth is, you are procrastinating. You are really lying to yourself if you're just looking at the data. It's pretty. It plots some charts, and you think you are progressing, but really you are just looking at average performance of the market. But when you really get results is when you get out of the building, and property remains the people's business, and you get above average performance assets by mixing, basically mixing the two. So having the data on the background to do your lead generation and your due diligence, and being on the ground and you know, speaking with the actors on the ground, the vendors, building rapport, so that they want to. It's not so much who they are, but it's who are you to them, so that people really only want to sell to you, basically.
Right. And in terms of, like, you know, I love your name, the Property Filter, the company's, because it, you know, it shows just how you kind of take that data and then filter it to get what you want. But how do you decide what is a deal? You know, what's a good deal for you?
Yeah. So the first thing I would do is really spend a lot of time to invest a lot of time in getting clarity on one's strategy.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not to say, oh, I'm doing HMO, you're doing SA, you know, not property strategy. It's really strategy in the sense of having like a life strategy, or like a life plan, or in terms of what do you want to achieve in 5 years, and what income stream do you need at which stages, and really go quite in depth into this, because it's pointless searching for looking for something if you don't know what you're looking for. And I see a lot of people wasting a lot of time. They go on Rightmove, they say Birmingham 50-mile radius, and there's 3,000 results. And a lot of people do this, and I say, oh, because I don't want to miss out on it. But the thing is, you'll be looking for properties which will never be suitable because of the location, because of the just the price range they are at in. You cannot, you know. So it's really and there's multiple aspects to this. And so something I learned from Daniel Hill, which is probably one of the first thing, is this concept of wealth hierarchy. So it's imagine a pyramid, a triangle with 3 slabs. So the bottom is your cash flow, the middle is profit, and the top is assets. And for me, that was really a game changer. So first is depending where you are in your life, are you looking to create cash flow? Are you looking at replacing your income or funding your lifestyle? Or is it that you are a part-time pilot and you love your job, and this is funding more than your lifestyle anyway? So your cash flow is sorted, and really you want to create wealth, and creating wealth is not going to be by developing HMOs, which are 15 months, 18 months turnaround. You're much better off creating a capital events like sourcing fees, or flips, or these kind of things that generate 20K at a time, 10K at a time profits that you can then invest in assets. So the assets they'll be your boring buy-to-lets, basically the non-noisy stuff. It depends really where you are in your life, and it's understanding what do you need. If you are 10 years away from retiring age, for example, I wouldn't start a rent-to-rent business.
Yeah.
This is really like if you want to replace an income at an early stage. And so that's really the first aspects. And there's so many levels to this, so many depth we can delve into this. I think one of my if I were to do all of this again, so I went straight into developing HMOs, and it's very capital intensive. It's very long. The project cycles are very long. And if I were to do this again, I would probably start by creating a business, and again, like a trading business or a service business, or like a subscription-based business of some sort, to create this cash flow,
right,
and sustainably, because it's quite easy when you've been working for many years, you've got some savings, you've got I don't know, you've got 5-6 digit savings on the bank account, and your ego wants to buy property. It's I'm getting to property. I'm going to buy one, two, and people think in terms of how many deals do I need. And I think it's very limiting, because you are never in the mindset of creating a scalable business. And it's something I learned. It took me 3 years basically to realize that. And if I were to do it again, I'd probably start by, even though I had some capital at the beginning, but it's putting the ego on the side. So, okay, I will buy property from the excess profit of my cash flow business, or by the profit play of my I don't know, sourcing or development or flips, to buy these boring assets. But yeah, it's hard, because you want to go straight into the sexy stuff. But if I were to do it again, I probably and again, I wish I knew the things I knew now, and I had the maturity and the outlook on business and entrepreneurship, which I didn't have. But I would probably look at opening like I don't like a building firm, or a maintenance company, or a cleaning company, or a service provider in the industry I want to operate in, and so that this funds my lifestyle basically. And then on top of that, then doing the flips and creating, if I did this at the time, I would have enough capital to buy some properties cash, to flip them, and then you just create wealth so much faster by following these 3 stages here.
It's really interesting, this idea of what is a great deal, and as you said, the a great deal changes depending on what stage you're at. If it's your first or second or third property, that might be very different than if you've got the cash flow sorted and you're looking at chunks of cash and you're looking at investing in the low hassle assets further down the line. So yeah, that's interesting what you say about build up the cash flow first, so you're not completely reliant on these highly intensive and cash intensive or time intensive strategies. So yeah, okay. And so when people they go through the property filter and they find the deal, how do they kind of fund those deals, and is there any kind of support with the negotiation side and the skill set to take it to complete, I guess?
Yeah, so it's very much focused on the deal finding side. And after this is interesting. We can have discussions around because we are very customer centered. So the features are evolving all the time based on our current community. Today we focused. The USP has really been around finding deals. Right. If you find the right deals, you'll be able to find the money, kind of thing. But we've not gone into brokerage of investment, or we've not included any introduction or kickbacks to mortgage providers or anything like that. So it's very much all-in-one standalone tool to basically cut off all the admins, this blueprint to find the deals. But then the finance side, this is something for you to sort.
Yeah, and the actual the business model, is that do you buy once, or is it a subscription sort of ongoing that people sign up to?
So we've not fully productized it. Today, what we've done a soft launch in November for people in my network, and people who know me, or it's just been by referral of our current members referring other people today, because we are preparing to launch it properly in the summer. So today, the only thing on offer was a pre-launch membership, and it's understanding that we are still developing, we are still improving. So we are doing updates twice a week. I think last week we added the commercial properties to this, so it was a big this weekend. So 2 days ago, the commercial properties have been added, which was quite a step change. We've changed some things in the features, which allow much more efficient map search, where people can click on the map to get the postcodes and to add the postcodes to their search. So it's just we're just evolving with our current community. But yeah, by all means, yeah, people can reach out to me and to see a demo, and if it works for them, then if they can get in for the pre-launch membership, basically they get unlimited feature, unlimited search, and they get upgraded to the push plan in the summer. So now is a good time to jump on.
Fantastic. That's great. So where can people find out more about this and what you're up to?
Yeah, so the best is to connect with me on Facebook, or yeah, send me an email and send me a messenger. And I'm very passionate about property, very passionate about what it's done for me, and always very generous with my time when people reach out to me for a demo to look at their situation and I can I can add some value to give them some ideas of what they could do. And then when we see that Property Filter can help, then usually people go on to a trial, and most people then stay on converting the membership because of the time they get back, basically, and the results they get.
Brilliant, great. Well, we'll put the links in the show notes. And do you want to just tell us what the website is called?
Yeah, so it's property-filter.co.uk. So there's some general information on the website, and you can book a demo to speak with me. And you can find me, Guillaume Black, on Facebook or LinkedIn. Sorry. And from there, we can start a conversation. And yeah, very happy to support you in your property investment process and journey.
Fantastic. Well, I really look forward to watching what you do next and following your journey. So thank you very much for your time today. It was really interesting.
Yeah. Thanks so much, Michelle, for having me. Thank you, everyone, for listening up to now and for coping with my French accent.
That's great. No, it was really loads of value. So thank you. Great. And for anyone who is not yet a subscriber to the magazine, please click the link in the show notes for your free 30-day trial. That's all for today, guys, and we'll see you next time.